Starlink just dropped a $2 billion bombshell in the Arctic, a massive expansion to bring internet to Greenland's icy frontier, announced on May 27th, 2025. It's a tech lifeline for remote communities and U.S. military bases, but it's also a direct challenge to China's growing Arctic ambitions. In a region already heating up with geopolitical tension, this could be the spark that ignites a new U.S.-China tech war. This is the fault line that could freeze your digital world, leaving entire communities stranded or connected, depending on who wins this icy battle for tech dominance. The Arctic, a place of breathtaking beauty and harsh isolation, is now the stage for a high-stakes showdown that could ripple across the globe, affecting how you access the internet and what it costs you. On May 27th, 2025, SpaceX announced its ambitious $2 billion plan to expand Starlink into the Arctic, deploying 500 new satellites specifically designed to provide internet coverage to Greenland's remote communities and U.S. military installations. Greenland, a vast island of ice and snow, is home to just 56,000 people scattered across isolated villages, many of whom have never had reliable internet access. The U.S. military bases, like Thule Air Base, are critical for missile defense and monitoring Arctic activities, making connectivity a national security priority. With the Arctic's ice melting faster than ever, 30% less ice since 2015, opening new shipping routes and exposing $1 trillion in resources, this region has become a strategic hotspot. Starlink's move aims to cement U.S. tech dominance in this frozen frontier. China's been eyeing the same territory, setting the stage for a potential tech war showdown in one of the most remote places on Earth. Starlink's Arctic expansion builds on its already massive global network of 7,183 satellites, which, as of today, May 28, 2025, serves 70 million people across 70 countries, generating $10 billion in annual revenue. These satellites, orbiting at about 550 kilometers above Earth, have transformed internet access worldwide, offering speeds of 25 to 220 megabits per second, even in rural areas where traditional providers can't reach. Now, SpaceX is targeting the Arctic, a region where temperatures can drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius, and the sun doesn't rise for months at a time. The 500 new satellites will be equipped with advanced laser links to ensure seamless coverage over the Arctic's vast, icy expanse, connecting Greenland's communities and U.S. bases like Thule, which sits just 750 miles from the North Pole. This isn't just about helping isolated villagers. It's a strategic play to secure U.S. interests in a region where military presence and resource control are increasingly contested. Starlink's expansion strengthens America's foothold, but it also puts the company in direct competition with China's tech ambitions, which have been growing louder in the Arctic over the past few years. Here's how it works for everyone, whether you're tech-savvy or not. Imagine you're in a tiny Arctic village in Greenland, surrounded by ice and snow, with no internet. Schools can't go online, families can't call loved ones far away, and even basic weather updates are hard to get. Starlink satellites are like floating Wi-Fi routers in space, flying over the Arctic to send internet signals down to a small dish you set up outside your home. You plug in the dish, and suddenly, you've got internet fast enough to stream videos, make video calls, or check the weather, even in the middle of nowhere. For the U.S. military, it's a game changer. Bases like Thule can now coordinate missile defense or monitor Russian and Chinese activities in real time, without relying on slow, outdated systems. It's a lifeline for places that have been cut off for centuries, until now. But this technology, while powerful, isn't cheap. Starlink's service costs an average of $124.50 a month in the first year, including the $474 dish, dropping to $85 a month after that, a price that might be tough for Arctic villagers but critical for military operations. This expansion isn't just about internet, it's a tech war over ice, with the Arctic's future hanging in the balance. The Arctic holds vast resources, like rare earth minerals critical for making phones, batteries, and AI tech, and new shipping routes that could cut transit times between Asia and Europe by 40%. China's been eyeing Greenland for years. investing in mining projects and infrastructure to secure a foothold in this resource-rich region. In 2024, China tried to buy a naval base in Greenland, but Denmark, which oversees Greenland's defense, blocked the deal after U.S. pressure. Tensions flared again recently when Senator J.D. Vance visited Greenland, sparking diplomatic friction with Denmark over China's growing influence. Now, Starlink's move strengthens U.S. control, providing internet to both civilians and military bases, which could help monitor Chinese activities in the region. But China isn't backing down. It sees the Arctic as a key part of its Belt and Road initiative, a global trade strategy, and a tech presence here could give it leverage over global shipping and resources. The Arctic could become a flashpoint, with global internet infrastructure and a $1 trillion resource market at stake, all while the ice continues to melt, exposing more opportunities and more risks. For you, this could be a game changer, or a risk, depending on where you are and how this plays out. In Greenland, Starlink's internet could transform lives. Kids in remote villages could go to school online for the first time, accessing lessons from teachers thousands of miles away. Or families could video call relatives in Denmark, staying connected despite the isolation. For example, a small village like Qaanaaq, with just 600 people, could finally get reliable internet, opening up new opportunities for education, healthcare, and even small businesses selling local crafts online. But there's a catch. The service costs $85 a month after the first year, which is a lot for villagers who often earn less than $10,000 a year. For the U.S. military, it's a no-brainer. Thule Air Base can now coordinate missile defense or monitor Arctic shipping routes in real time, strengthening national security. However, if U.S.-China tensions escalate, China might push back, maybe by jamming Starlink signals, as they've done with other satellite systems, or pressuring Denmark to limit Starlink's operations in Greenland. That could cut off service for Arctic users, leaving them disconnected again, just when they've started to rely on it. And if a tech war heats up in the Arctic, it might affect internet access worldwide as the US and China fight over who controls the skies, potentially raising costs or limiting your access to global networks. China won't sit still while Starlink stakes its claim in the Arctic. Though announced just days ago on May 24th, 2025, Huawei announced its own $5 billion satellite network, promising 6G internet at $50 a month, cheaper and faster than Starlink's $85 a month after the first year. Huawei might expand into the Arctic, challenging Starlink head-on with its 10,000 satellite plan, which could offer speeds of 1 terabit per second, 10 times faster than 5G. China's already investing heavily in Greenland's minerals, with companies like Shanghai Resources owning stakes in rare earth mines that supply 20% of the world's tech materials. A tech foothold here would boost China's global influence, giving it control over Arctic trade routes and resources. If Huawei offers its $50 a month 6G service to Greenland's villages, it could win over locals, splitting the region's tech ecosystem. Some villages using Starlink, others using Huawei. The U.S. might respond with sanctions, targeting Huawei's supply chain to block its Arctic ambitions, escalating this frozen tech war into a global crisis that could disrupt internet access far beyond the Arctic Circle. History shows the Arctic can be a tech war tinderbox, where small moves lead to big conflicts. During the Cold War, the U.S. and Soviet Union raced to deploy satellites for Arctic surveillance, using them to monitor each other's military movements in the region. By the 1960s, the U.S. had launched the Corona satellite program, taking thousands of photos of Soviet bases in the Arctic, which heightened tensions and nearly sparked a larger conflict during the Cuban Missile Crisis. In the 1980s, the U.S. built the DEW Line, a $5 billion radar system stretching across the Arctic to detect Soviet missiles, but its presence fueled global fears of nuclear war, as both sides saw the Arctic as a potential battleground. Each time, tech competition in the Arctic raised the stakes, sometimes bringing the world to the brink of disaster. Starlink's expansion could repeat that pattern, with China as the new rival, turning a remote region into a stage for global conflict, where the winner could control not just the Arctic, but the future of tech and trade worldwide. Starlink's Arctic push could fracture the future in ways we can't fully predict, If it succeeds, remote communities gain a digital lifeline. Villages like Kulusuk could go from zero internet to streaming educational content, while U.S. bases strengthen their defenses against Arctic threats. The U.S. secures a strategic edge, ensuring it can monitor Chinese and Russian activities in the region, from shipping to military maneuvers. But a U.S.-China tech war here might split the Arctic's internet. U.S. systems like Starlink on one side, Chinese systems like Huawei on the other, just like we've seen with Huawei's global 5G rollout in 60 countries. The $1 trillion Arctic resource market hangs in the balance. Rare earth minerals, oil, and new trade routes could fall under the control of whoever dominates tech in the region. For you, this means your internet access could be caught in the crossfire. Global networks might fragment, costs could rise, and what you can access online might depend on who controls this frozen frontier, a place that feels far away but could shape your digital life in ways you never imagined. Starlink's $2 billion Arctic expansion is a bold move to connect the frozen north, but it risks igniting a US-China tech war over Greenland's ice, where the stakes are higher than ever. With history warning of tension and China ready to strike back with its own tech ambitions, this fault line could freeze the global tech landscape. Your connectivity, your future, it's all at stake in a region where the ice is melting, but the conflict is heating up. The Arctic isn't just a place of snow and silence. It's the next frontier in a tech war that could change how you live, work, and connect, no matter where you are in the world. This is TechFaultline, where we uncover tech's future. Subscribe, share your thoughts, and tell us what story you want next as the US and China move the battle to the Arctic. Let's see who comes out on top.